We welcome you to the Dog Pound. The winds aren't quite howling. It's actually about a 50-degree day, but we're definitely in the month of December. And as the buzzer sounds, you can tell we have moved from outdoor to indoor sports on DCTV. Brent Balbinot saying thank you for joining us alongside Scoop Miller as the Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show is now on the air. As we've got game one of two contests here this evening, as it will be the Blue Streaks of Archbold, a perfect 5-0 on the season, taking on the Ayersville Pilots at 1-4. We'll have the nightcap, which will be the host Bulldogs of Defiance and the Tenora Rams, both also sporting 1-4 records. The winners of both respective contests tonight will play for a championship tomorrow. The crowd filing in as we've got JV action taking place right now on the court. We do not have a coach's interview or a player profile for the opening game, but we can tell you to stick around for Defiance and Tenora as Coach Leroy Lewis and our player profile, junior point guard Jamie Rollins, will be helping set the tone for that matchup. So instead of a coach or a player, Scoop Miller gets extra time to bring you his informative and entertaining analysis. Look, Scoop, let's go ahead and start with basically your element. The Blue Streaks of Ayersville, Coach Ziegler has just put together another solid squad this season, and they are off and rolling at 5-0. As a matter of fact, they really haven't had more than one close ball game. Their last contest was back on the 6th when they knocked off Edgerton 57-50. Otherwise, we're looking at 15 to 20, in some cases even more than 20-point victories. This is a Blue Streaks team that is loaded for bear this season.
Well, you're right, and this is what you expect when you see an Archbold Blue Streak team. They're coming off a really out of character, 2 consecutive losing seasons. They're first in over 25 years, but they have righted the ship this year, and they're doing it with underclassmen. They only have 2 seniors that on that roster. So this is a team that's very youthful, but it's also very talented. And as you mentioned, Brett, a perfect 5-0 coming into the DPT Classic.
Youth being served here this season. And again, as a junior, you can say, okay, are you young or are you just inexperienced? Probably a little bit of both. But Charlie Forward, a 5'8" junior forward, really leads the charge. As a matter of fact, she has had 3 out of their opening 5 matchups where she has had a double-double. She is a handful.
Well, she's just a solid athlete. She is so physically strong, can run the floor. She's shooting the ball very well this year. She's that girl that can get you a double-double just about any night of the week. So she's doing all kinds of things for Coach Brian Ziegler. But she's got a great supporting cast around her as well.
Mila Garricky, not the least of which, again, 5'11", so they do have some height in that front court. Mila Garricky, not to be an anonymous voice in the chorus, so to speak. As a matter of fact, versus Eastwood, she had 21 and 12. She is also averaging double-figure scoring this season. So the Pilots are going to have their hands full. Pick your poison tonight.
Well, you're right. And Molly's one of those many girls for Archbold that just seems to get better year in, year out. She's had a fantastic junior campaign, leads the streaks in scoring over 14 a game, comes in with 6.5 rebounds a game, shooting nearly 50% from the floor, over 82% from the stripe. So she's getting it done in all ways. And also, and we should probably mention McKenna Thiel, the 5'6" junior. After being injured all last season, she's looking to be back in midseason form. She was all honorable mention NWAL as a freshman, so they certainly missed her last year, but she's trying to make up for lost time. She's had an excellent junior campaign as well.
She's averaging 6 points per contest, and I asked Coach Ziegler, I said, who is your alpha? I know we use that term for the boys. We can use it for the girls as well, but I said, if the coaches weren't available, who would step up and lead practice? And when they speak, everybody shuts up, listens, and follows. And he said, without question, McKenna Thiel. He said, normally you'd like that to be your point guard, but he goes, the bloodlines, the coaching tree with McKenna Thiel's family runs very deep, and it shows. And much like what you said last year, unfortunately missing the season due to injury, Coach said she was an extra unpaid assistant coach on that bench. He said she was invaluable.
Well, she was, and she comes from that coaching family. Both her parents played collegiate athletics, but they also coach interscholastic athletics, so she is kind of a coach by nature. And even though it hurt her to watch from the sidelines last year, I guarantee you, not only did she grow a lot, but she was a big help for that coaching staff and the rest of that team. And she's been a big part of this great start for Archbold this season.
Well, we've talked 4 out of the 5 starters for the Blue Streaks. We would be remiss if we didn't mention the actual point guard, Alana Pedraza. Now, again, her numbers look modest in comparison. But as a point guard, you want to know, can you handle the ball, especially bring it up against pressure and not turn it over? She is averaging almost 5 points, but Scoop, almost 4 assists per ball game.
Well, she does a great job of knowing her role. You know, she's not in there to put up 20 points a game. What she's going to do is kind of quarterback the team. She's going to direct the offense. She's going to try to put those people in position where they can handle the ball, have success. A big reason she's well over 3 assists per game on the season. Just does a great job. Her assist turnover ratio has been really good, so she's really doing a great job. She's another one that just has a heart to play. She loves the game. She's trying to make the most of her senior season, and to this point, she's done just that.
On the flip side, Tim Nicely and the Ayersville Pilots. They finished the season last year ranked in the top 10 in the state, but they graduated 4 out of 5 starters with only 1 player back with even moderate varsity experience. It is a completely different roster. The Pilots at 1-4. As a matter of fact, we had their game last Friday night versus Patrick Henry. The NWOAL just got served. I know the Blue Streaks are 5-0, but Patrick Henry is loaded for bear, and they showed it with a 52-18 win at the Hangar. So the question now becomes, how does Ayersville respond? Well, let's start with the one ace in the Hangar. She doesn't have flying goggles or a scarf, but she has a tremendous work ethic, and that is Kendra Waldron, the senior. She's basically part guard, part small forward, but she brought the ball up against pressure a lot. She worked downhill quite a bit. She's averaging over a handful of steals per ball game. I have seen, Scope, we've been doing this a long time. As a matter of fact, I had to sit down, much to my own chagrin, and think about doing this for over 30 years. There are great, talented athletes who maybe get by just on that talent and aren't necessarily the strongest with a work ethic. There are maybe average talented athletes that get more, squeeze every ounce out of their physical ability because they have tremendous work ethics. And then there is another branch, the great athlete with the great work ethic. Those are rare. And then there's elite. I'm going to top the cherry on the sundae with one more thing that's an intangible that very few coaches or athletes even talk about, and that's will to win. If you ask an athlete, which is better for you? Do you hate losing or love winning? Which tips the scale? The elites will tell you they hate losing more than they love winning. And in the case of Kendra Waldron, if she doesn't even play up to her potential and they still win, she's still upset with herself. It is rarefied air that this kid is working in. I don't want to say all eyes on her because she puts so much pressure on herself, but clearly she is the heart and soul of this team this season.
Well, I think there's no question about it. You know, she's that calming presence. She leads by example. She's that special athlete. And you hit the nail on the head as far as, you know, everybody wants to win, but having the will to prepare, I mean, that's just not something you turn on game night. That's something you do in the off season. That's something you do day in, out in practice. That's something that it's really kind of hard to coach. That's something you have that X factor, you don't, more or less, and she has it.
The greats
she's
will
been
tell
a
you
catalyst in that
carries
area.
over no matter what they do. Did you mow the yard? I missed a spot. It didn't get trimmed well. Did you score an A on your midterm exam? Yeah, but I got a 99. That's the type of mindset that we're talking about. Great athletes can have great work ethics, but that extra something, I don't know what you would term it as an adjective-wise, but that is rarefied air, and that's what this young lady has.
It really is rarefied air because as a coach, you know, when you get that type of athlete, boy, it just kind of spoils you a little bit because, again, that's not something you see every day, year in, year out, and so forth. So when you have one, you try to enjoy the ride. You try to get as much out of them as you can, as you do everyone else. But again, when you got that leader out there, sometimes that has more impact than you as a coach. So she's certainly that girl, and we've seen her do that across the board in multi-sports as well.
Rounding out the starting five for the Pilots, and I'm just going to go ahead and say what Coach nicely told me. He goes, I want a mean streak in my point guard. Allison Eldridge will get the starting nod at point, the 5'7" junior. Now, she was shut out in the first half Friday night against Patrick Henry. She had a much more aggressive third quarter. She finished with 8 points, including a pair of free throws and a basket from the field in the fourth quarter. But Coach nicely told me, I said, so what are we talking here, a chip on your shoulder? And he goes, I want her to get mean. He goes, I want her to just take on the opposition like they are enemies from the old neighborhood. Now, I know everybody gets along in Defiance County and in the Ayersville community, but what he's pointing out is he's trying to nurse, I guess, if you will, a spirit that you can shake your opponent's hand after the game. You can respect them before the game, but when that whistle sounds and that clock is ticking, you got to absolutely want to take their head off. He says when Allison Eldridge takes her mindset to that next level, this team will also jump to a new level.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because that's what you need. You need that tenacity, but you can still be a great human being and a great person, but on that floor, once you step between those lines,
for 32
it's all
minutes.
Business. It's all business, and you're going to do whatever you can in your power to get the advantage and try to beat your opponent. But you certainly can walk off the court with your head high. You can shake hands, give hugs, be friends, but on that court, you're doing all you can to get the job done for your team.
At the off guard, it will be Alexa Greavy. Again, Greavy, limited time last season along with Eldridge. Look, everybody we're mentioning, with the exception of Kendra Waldron, saw at best spot minutes last year with a starting lineup that had 4 seniors that have since moved on. Avery Knieven, she was our player profile last week. Avery Knieven, I think, is probably anywhere from 7 to 8 points and 7 to 8 rebounds just waiting to happen. But again, it's getting comfortable with your teammates. It's getting comfortable with not just pace of play, but when they run her downstairs, Scoop, she's got to get comfortable with the physical style of play as well.
Well, that's the adjustment you have to make when you're a freshman, trying to play at the speed of the varsity. That's a huge jump, going from 8th grade and all of a sudden you're throwing to the varsity. But she certainly has the skill set to make that adjustment. You want to get those reps. I think it starts with get some confidence. You get settled in a little bit. I think when that happens, I think not only will her shooting come around, but her aggressiveness will come around, her defense, her all-around game. But she's got a high upside, and certainly Coach Nicely looking forward to seeing what she's going to bring to the Pilots throughout her career.
Likewise, a very high upside is another freshman, 6-foot center Kendall Booher. Now, she was a standout middle blocker on that deep run in the playoffs that the volleyball team made. But what she's finding out is basketball and volleyball are very different games. She's scrappy, but at the same time still doing a little bit of growing here. You can't fault the engine, but it's just going to take a little bit of time. She needs more reps, but her ceiling is incredibly high.
It really is. We saw that this fall on the volleyball court, and I think it'll have some carry effect, but obviously it's 2 different sports. It's a different leg set and so forth, but again, a very high upside to have 2 freshmen like that. Wow, it's going to be neat to see how they progress over their careers.
How do you spell Phil? Balbinot and Miller. We're still about 5 minutes and 15 seconds away from the end of the JV contest, and that means they're going to put a few more minutes up on the clock for the varsity contest, and there's players to get warmed up. So what we're going to do is take a 2-minute timeout, a 2-minute break. When we come back, we will continue to break it down. You are watching the Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac, located on North Clinton Street in Defiance. Check out their great selection of new and used vehicles on their lot. Or if you don't want to brave the 30-mile-an-hour winds and the 22-degree temperatures, you can do so online as well at drivebobestill.com. We're going to take a 2-minute break. When we come back, more of the Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show. You're watching DCTV Sports.
Estill Chevrolet Cadillac is this area's new and used car headquarters, earning your trust one satisfied customer at a time. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac, North Clinton Street in Defiance, and online at drivebobestill.com. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac is this area's new and used car headquarters, earning your trust one satisfied customer at a time. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac, North Clinton Street in Defiance, and online at drivebobestill.com. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac is this area's new and used car headquarters, earning your trust one satisfied customer at a time. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac, North Clinton Street in Defiance, and online at drivebobestill.com.
Back at the Dog Pound, Defiance High School. Brent Balbinot alongside Scoop Miller as the Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show continues. You are getting bonus pregame here this evening, folks. How often have we been able to go ahead and give you this much, basically in-depth breakdown? Quite often we're trying to make sure we hit everything on a perfect time cue. Unfortunately, we didn't get everything in that we wanted to for the second game last week. I can tell you this, we will have the addition of our player profile for senior center for the Ayersville boys, Keithan Miles, starting tomorrow morning. We are basically doing a post-edit job, and Keithan's pregame interview will be included in that broadcast. So that just kind of goes to show you, Scoop, live broadcasts, you have to shoot from the hip sometimes. They don't always fall neatly into place. So with that said, we've got extra time tonight as the second of two JV games, Defiance and Tenora, still about 3 minutes from wrapping up. And then my guess is we're going to have 15 minutes put up on the clock for the first of two here tonight. And we're going to break down both of them for you here. But right now, the first game is 5-0 Archbold versus 1-4 Ayersville. I guess let's go ahead and talk about it, because these teams almost a contradiction of each other from last year into this year. Again, Archbold is used to winning. So is Ayersville. But last season, coming off of back-to-back losing seasons, they're not used to that at Archbold. But now, off to a strong 5-0 start and decent tests. A 64-25 win versus Hicksville. A 20-point victory, 47-27 at Eastwood. 35-30 in a defensive battle at Wauseon. A 61-45 victory versus Fairview. That's the game where Charlie Forward had 14 points and 8 rebounds. And then a tough-fought game, but basically keeping Edgerton in arm's reach for the bulk of it in a 57-50 win. As a matter of fact, in that Edgerton game, Charlie had a double-double, 21 and 10. In that Eastwood game, again, Miley Garricky, Garricky, I was right the first time, had 21 and 12. So this is an interesting road because we've seen comfortable wins, we've seen blowouts, and we've seen a couple single-digit victories. So here's my question for you. What do we know about this Blue Streaks team that we didn't 5 games ago?
Well, they have so much depth offensively. They don't have to have that one person that's going to bring 20 points to the table every night. They have so many different players that can score. They also have the ability to score from their defense. In fact, that's always been a big staple for Archbold teams really throughout history. And no different this team. These girls have done a great job, as you mentioned it, Brent, coming off consecutive losing seasons. You'd have to go all the way back to 96-97, the last time the Blue Streaks did not or had a losing mark. But these girls have come out. I think there were some question marks early because, again, you've got a young team, primarily only a couple seniors on there, but the fact that they've got a good boost from some young kids, they've got a good junior, senior class, and boy, that's combined to be some good math here for Archbold. And I think we should mention, too, the freshman Claire Kern. Boy, she's a girl right now. It's already averaging nearly 8 points a game, over 3 rebounds a game. Their top 3-point shooter. She gets to the foul line more than any other Blue Streak. She's got a high upside, and she's going to bring a lot to the Blue Streak team as she gets more reps and more confidence under her belt as well.
Everything you just mentioned about Archbold, you could have said the exact same thing about Ayersville last season. They are almost a mirror image, one season removed from each other. This Pilots team, extremely young, with the exception of one starter, varsity returner that saw any types of minutes, much less starting. So here's my question for you. You have got 2 coaches with 2 teams that are in very different positions right now. Blue Streaks, I'm guessing, and again, talking a little bit with Coach Ziegler, he seemed as cool as the other side of the pillow. He was just so low-key about things. On the flip side, Tim Nicely has been around the block as well, and he understands we're going to take our lumps. There's going to be growing pains, But when you get your hat handed to you on your home court with a running clock, which you're not used to last Friday, what's your message to your young team if you're coached nicely? There's a lot of season still left in front of you.
Well, the message is, you always want to see how your kids are going to respond. These kids really, got knocked down. And now, are they going to get up? And if they do get up, are they going to come out fighting? So that's what he really wants to see. And that's the great thing about athletics. It really mirrors life. You're going to have those ups and your downs. But really how you measure things is how you respond to that adversity. And that's one of the great things about athletics. So he certainly is going to be anxious to see how his team is going to respond, especially you have the likes of an Archbold, a team that traditionally has so much tradition, has so many athletes, and this year looks like that typical Archbold team has got a chance to win 20-plus games and make a tournament run and so forth. But again, how his kids respond tonight, I think will go a long way here for the Pirates this season.
Scoop, paraphrasing that 1990s British super one-hit wonder, Chumbawamba, with the "they get knocked down, but they get up again" theme from the tune tub thumping, which has a different meaning in the U.S., but I'll tell you off the air. They've put 15 minutes up on the scoreboard clock, which is what we thought we would see. Archbold and Ayersville's varsity already taking the floor to get after their warm-ups. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to break down your starting lineups and your keys to the game. You are watching the Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show on DCTV Sports.
Estill Chevrolet Cadillac is this area's new and used car headquarters, earning your trust one satisfied customer at a time. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac, North Clinton Street in Defiance, and online at drivebobestill.com. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac is this area's new and used car headquarters, earning your trust one satisfied customer at a time. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac, North Clinton Street in Defiance, and online at drivebobestill.com. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac is this area's new and used car headquarters, earning your trust one satisfied customer at a time. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac, North Clinton Street in Defiance, and online at drivebobestill.com. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac is this area's new and used car headquarters, earning your trust one satisfied customer at a time. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac, North Clinton Street in Defiance, and online at drivebobestill.com.
The Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show continues on DCTV Sports as we welcome you back to the Dog Pound. We are just under 12 minutes away from the first of two here this evening, as it is the DPT Classic. Girls say, etiquette says ladies first, so the girls get their action this week, and then the boys will get their matches, or games I guess I should say, coming up in about 10 days as part of the Groob Invitational. That will be a Saturday and a Monday. There will not be a series of games on Sunday, so we're going to be splitting up some of the best that the area has to offer in high school girls and boys basketball. But tonight, starting us off, the Ayersville Pilots at 1-4 versus the Archbold Blue Streaks at 5-0. Time now for a look at your keys to the game, brought to you by Northwest State Community College. Northwest State Community College, your key to great career opportunities begins with a great education at Northwest State. Visit northweststate.edu or call 419-267-1320 today. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the keys to the game tonight. And first, for the Ayersville Pilots, we're going to pop them up. Our keys to the game. There we go. First, for the Pilots, they do not want a track meet. They've got to absolutely control the tempo. They tried to do it against Patrick Henry on Friday night. Patrick Henry's press just sped the game up. What happens when you can't handle the press? You turn the ball over. So those two things kind of going in tandem with each other. Value the basketball, minimize turnovers. Scoop, Archbold saw that game Friday night, and in talking with Coach Ziegler, they know what the blueprint is. Ayersville needs to anticipate the same exact thing this evening.
Well, you're right. You know Archbold is going to come out and extend their defense, and they're going to have plenty of ball pressure. They're going to look to trap. They're going to look to get in those passing lanes. Archbold wants this to be a very high possession game. On the flip side, Ayersville and Coach Nicely, they want a low possession game. They want to slow the game down a little bit, shorten the game, so to speak. They have to be strong with the basketball and minimize those turnovers because, as we've mentioned, Archbold's so good at getting points in their defense. When they force those live ball turnovers with the athletes they have, they turn those into runouts, 3-on-2, 2-on-1 opportunities. You just don't have that type of margin of error when you're playing a team like Archbold that has so much talent and so much depth.
There you see a man who hated turnovers as well, but for a completely different sport. Former football coach and current athletic director Jerry Beauty. The man is married to this school, and he's been so for decades. Tremendous individual. On the flip side, keys to the game for the Archbold Blue Streaks. Scoop, take it.
Well, for Archbold, I think it's going to start with rebounding. You know, if there's one thing that Archbold doesn't have is that real big dominant center, but they're so athletic. They usually are very strong rebounding because rebounding is more than size. A lot of it is heart and desire. If you know anything about this streak program, the girls have just that. I think another thing is, and we've mentioned it, they got to get points in their defense. You know, they're so good at getting ball pressure. They love to be not just up-tempo on the offensive end, but on the defensive end where they love to create havoc. They try to speed you up. They certainly were watching that Patrick Henry game not long ago. They understand how they want to try to make Ayersville play a little bit faster than they're comfortable. And I think if the Streaks are able to do that, boy, they're gonna be able to return the favor because Ayersville has knocked off the Streaks the last 2 years in this championship of this classic. So Archbold, certainly they have not forgotten that. They want to kind of right the ship. But we could have we'll see what happens. I think Ayersville really has an uphill climb tonight, but they have to value that basketball, have a low possession game if they want to have any type of chance in the second half.
Those are your keys to the game, brought to you by Northwest State Community College. Northwest State Community College, your key to a great career opportunity begins with a great education at Northwest State. Visit northweststate.edu or call 419-267-1320 today. We're going to take another 2-minute timeout. When we come back, we will have the starting lineups. Don't go anywhere. You are watching the Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show on DCTV Sports.
Estill Chevrolet Cadillac is this area's new and used car headquarters, earning your trust one satisfied customer at a time. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac, North Clinton Street in Defiance, and online at drivebobestill.com. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac is this area's new and used car headquarters, earning your trust one satisfied customer at a time. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac, North Clinton Street in Defiance, and online at drivebobestill.com.
The Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show winding down. We're just over 5 minutes before we get set for tip-off. The first of two nights worth of basketball in the DPT Classic here at the Dog Pound, Defiance High School. Brent Balbinot alongside Scoop Miller. The Blue Streaks at 5-0. The Pilots looking to right the ship at 1-4. Let's take a look at your starting lineups. They are brought to you by Baker Schindler Company. Proudly serving the area with highest quality contracting services for nearly 100 years. Baker Schindler Company of Defiance and Paulding, baker-schindler.com. Let's go ahead and take a look at the home team. They are in their whites. Ayersville, will be the visitors. Archbold in their gold uniforms there will be the home team. As there you take a look. So let's go ahead and give you the... I take that back. It was Ayersville in the gold uniforms and Archbold in the whites. Archbold is the home team. So let's give you the starting lineups for Archbold to begin with. At the point, it will be 5'2" senior Alana Pedraza. Again, Pedraza is kind of the straw that stirs the drink. She's not going to have flashy numbers, but she averages nearly 5 points and almost 4 assists per ball game. At the off guard, it will be Claire Kern, a 5'5" freshman. Yes, a freshman in the starting lineup. She's averaging 7.5 points per ball game. At the swing, it will be McKenna Thiel. Thiel, a 5'6" junior. Thiel is averaging 6 points per contest. And then a heavy 1-2 punch in that front court. At the power forward, Charlie Forward. Her name is appropriate, the 5'8" junior. She is averaging 13 points per contest. She is shooting nearly 80% from the free throw line, and I'm looking at the very murky stats that I have here, but she has got 7 rebounds per contest. That's what she averages. And then in the middle, Miley Garricky, the 5'11" junior. Garricky averaging 14.5 points per contest. She is also averaging nearly 7 rebounds per contest, and she is shooting 83% from the floor. On the flip side, for the Ayersville Pilots, I have no idea why I want to put Pirate in there, except, the Pirates are black and gold. The Pilots are black and gold here tonight as well. At the point, it will be Allison Eldridge, the 5'7" junior. Eldridge scored 8 points Friday night against Patrick Henry. Eldridge comes into this one averaging just 1 basket per ball game. At the off guard, Alexa Greavy, a 5'7" junior. Greavy, again, averaging just under 1 basket per contest. The scoring threat comes at the swing. Kendra Waldron. Waldron, a 5'8" junior. She averages nearly 9 points per contest. She's also pulling down 5 boards and has nearly 4 steals. She does a little bit of everything. At the front court, it will be the 5'8" sophomore, Avery Knieven. Knieven averaging 6.5 points, 5 boards per contest. She also likes to stick her nose in your kitchen. She's averaging just over 3 steals per game. And in the middle, the 6-foot freshman, still learning the game, still learning the position at the varsity level, Kendall Boer. Boer averaging 5 points and 5 rebounds per contest. Those are your starting lineups, brought to you by Baker Schindler Company. Proudly serving the area with the highest quality contracting services for nearly 100 years. Baker Schindler Company of Defiance and Paulding, baker-schindler.com. Well, enough talk. In about 1 minute and 18 seconds, we're going to be tipping it off here. Scoop, I know that it's an obvious thing to say. You want to get off to a good start, develop the tempo, maybe build up a lead. But is it more important for Ayersville to get a good slow start or Archbold to get a good fast start? Because these two teams want to play completely contrasting styles.
It's much more important for Ayersville to get that start they want. They need to really settle in early. They need to handle that blue streak pressure. When you're playing the likes of an Archbold, a team that's, been to the regional tournament a dozen plus times, a team that's been to state tournament a couple times, a team that's won 15 NWO championships, a lot of times you have that intimidation factor that's a key. So you want to kind of get settled in early. You can overcome all that tradition early, you've got a chance. If you don't, boy, it's an uphill climb, and you just can't do that against the athletes that Archbold brings to the table here tonight.
Well, the warm-ups have finished. Balls back in the cages, and both teams lining up at their respective ends of the court along the free throw line to get ready for the playing of the national anthem. It is brought to you by the Defiance County Veterans Office, proud to support local veterans and their families, connecting them with resources. To learn about or request more information, log on to defiance-county.com/Veterans Office. That's defiance-county.com/Veterans-Office. Or you can give them a call at 419-782-6861. Pilots on the Blue Streaks getting set to get after it. The colors have been unfurled from the rafters, both teams lining up. And it's time now for the national anthem, brought to you by the Defiance County Veterans Office. The national anthem in the books. Again, our thanks for their sponsorship, the Defiance County Veterans Office. Give them a call at 419-782-6861 or log on to defiance-county.com/Veterans-Office. Proud to support veterans and veterans' families. Your officiating crew tonight: Randy Prince, Scott Norse, and Amy Rowe. PA announcer Josh Bush announcing the starters for both sets of teams.
Again, both teams, not a lot of upperclassmen in the starting lineup. Archbold, 1 senior, 3 juniors, a freshman. Meanwhile, the Pilots, 2 juniors, a sophomore, and 2 freshmen.
And as you can see, both starters going over to shake the hands of the officials and the opposing coach.
Last year, these teams, Archbold finished 10-13, 3-4 in the NWOL. Lost to Old Harbor in the sectional. Meanwhile, Ayersville coming off a stellar season, perhaps best ever in Ayersville history. Maybe minus that 1992 team that made it all the way down to the state Final Four. But they ran the table in the GMC at 7-0, 24-2 before losing the district championship right here to the Crestview Knights.
Pre-game is now in the books. It is time to tip it off and get the evening going. About 15 minutes later than anticipated, they played 2 JV games tonight. Pilots in their traveling gold uniforms with the silver lettering and numerals with the black trim. The Blue Streaks in their home whites with the blue lettering and numerals and the gold trim. Amy Rowe about to put the ball in the air, and we are getting set for the opener of this season's DPT Classic. Pilots win the ball, and here comes Allison Eldridge. And is this a soft man, or is this a zone here to open up the game? Waiting for the ball.
Defense.
It is. The ball now finally going below the free throw line, and boy, a sagging zone right now. This will be interesting to see how Ayersville attacks.
Yeah, it's more or less a 1-3-1, but every zone's a 2-3 after that first pass. They do go 2-3 here in the out of bounds.
Now this is interesting because 2-3, but 1-3-1 depending on where the ball is, and that's requiring a lot of who's running the point on that zone as the first turnover of the ball game up the court. Here comes Pedraza, nice dish, and that one misses everything. Guess who for the Pilots? Kendra Waldron.
Well, that's what you're going to see out of Archbold. They get a steal and they quickly look to attack and transition. Pretty good transition defense by the Pilots that time as they dodge an early bullet.
2-3, they try and force it down low to the 6-footer freshman Boer. It's off her fingertips, but last touched by Archbold. Pilots being very sagacious. I know www.thesaurus.com. Taking their time. Johnny on the spot. That ball went through the fingertips of the post. Kendra Waldron is there on the weak side and lays it in as Ayersville draws first blood.
Great job by Waldron coming on the backside there, and recipient of that tipped basketball ends up being the first bucket of this contest just a little over a minute in.
Archbold, good ball movement as it looks like the Pilots might be out in a zone as well. So who wants to bust it?
2-3 here for Ayersville, and here's the zone breaker, but that one's going to rim out as Thiel try to connect from downtown. Pilots bring it up, trying to stretch a 2-point lead.
Tentative to attack it. They'll kick it back out. Waldron to the far corner, and that's off the fingertips of Knieven. That'll be the second Pilot turnover.
Yeah, that's the thing that Ayersville just cannot afford to do. You need to get as many, if not more, possessions in Archbold. And as you mentioned, Brent, 2 turnovers here in the opening minute, 45 seconds.
Flashing Thiel to the high blocks, and she immediately puts it on the floor. Very aggressive as she goes to the iron. She'll head to the free throw line as she's fouled.
What an impressive move there by McKenna Thiel. She did everything right. She caught the ball, squared up on her inside foot. Looked like he was going to shoot the basketball, had that nice head and shoulders fake and that quick step there to her right. And now she heads to the foul line, the first of 2 up and in for Thiel.
She hasn't had many opportunities this season. She was 2 for 6 before that one, so just 33%. She's trying to be 100% here.
Well, it's going to be important for Thiel to shoot like her mom, not her dad. She shoots like her dad right there, but she gets her own rebound.
So she rebounded like dad. She passes like both of her parents, and still they turn it over. Quick outlet and a rare opportunity to run, and Eldridge instead dribbles back into the middle of the court. And now she's picked up her dribble, and somebody's got to come help her. Waldron 1 foot in, 1 foot outside the arc. Nice dribble penetration. Boer, the freshman, will understand in time you've got to take a step toward the ball there. She waited for it to come to her, and that was just enough for Archbold to get the deflection on the jump ball. It will be a turnover.
Well, you're exactly right, especially against an aggressive team like Archbold that's going to try to double down all the time. A great play by Charlie Ford that time as she forces the tie up. Another turnover against the Pilots.
Well, good-looking jump shot from the near wing, but Pedraza can't find the range. Offensive board, another jump ball, and the arrow stays. Well, right now it's pointing to Archbold.
Well, correction, that last one down at this end was a foul and not the possession arrow. So Archbold does retain possession. They'll run a baseline out of bounds.
Quick catch and shoot, and off the mark by Kern. Another offensive board. Forward trying to muscle up, and
3 seconds.
3 seconds
call.
in the
You
lane.
don't see that very often, but that time Forward came up the rebound, just had no place to go with it, and she ran out of time. So that'll be the first streak turnover. And they quickly come out with some full court pressure.
Over the top of it, it's through Knieven's fingertips. Eldridge gives a worthy effort, but cannot track it down.
That's going to be the 4th Pilot turnover, and we've yet to play 3 minutes, so certainly a concern for Coach Nicely. Again, this is what Archbold likes to do. They like to speed you up. That time the Pilots went with the long pass against the press.
Still back in a 2-3 zone. Ayersville only trailing by 1. They go into the low blocks and muscling up strong, Yereke. And what do we have here?
We had
offensive
steps
foul?
that time.
Walk.
Excellent call by veteran official Scott Norris that time. Gerke drug the pivot foot, trying to improve her position. Pretty good post defense by the Pilots.
Knieven being aggressive here, but she hits the deck in the low blocks. Do we have a foul or a jump ball? And the officials looking at each other, and the arrow points to Ayersville. Waldron, the trigger woman on the baseline. She lobs to a cutting Boer who misses the bunny. Boer staying with it, and another jump ball. This time it goes to Archbold.
A good looking out of bounds play that time by Ayersville. That was option C as Boer made a rim run, was wide open. Well, that's a shot she'd like to have back. Just kind of caught the heel of the rim, kicks out. And they're Kern with a quick three at the other end. And Archbold has their first lead as a freshman, Claire Kern, gets the trifecta.
Well, that is a Premier Bank three-pointer. Simplify your everyday banking with convenient account options and digital banking features that fit your unique lifestyle. YourPremierBank.com. First basket from the floor for Archbold as they lead 4-2. A collision, congestion as two gold jerseys in the high blocks. Eldridge takes a foot to the head. It's 5-on-4, and finishing at the other end, a little finger roll for Claire Kern.
A nice job by the Streaks. 2 more points from the defense.
Oh, nice drive by Waldron. She can't finish with the finger roll, but she stays with it. Misses the bunny again. Deflected, and who wants it? My goodness. Here comes Kern at the other end, coast to coast. She can't find the range. Knieven falling down in outlets. Give them football pads. My goodness, this has been physical. Boer wide open. She hesitated. Will go baseline. She got behind the backboard, but she is fouled, and I believe this one's going against Gerke. It is.
And credit Kendra Waldron. Great entry pass that time. Was able to spot her teammate there down on the low block. And a good, strong post move to the rack by Boer. And now the freshman will head to the charity stripe to shoot a pair.
She's 45% on the season, but she drains her first.
Well, the great thing about Boer and that free throw percentage you talked about is the fact that she's been there. You know, that was her 21st free throw attempt of the young season, so you love to see that. You know she's not happy with that 45%, but to me that's an easy fix. That one's going to rim out. Charlie Ford comes down with the rebound for the Streaks.
So 6-3. 3:30 left to go here in the first quarter. Not a lot of fouls. Not a lot of offense. Archbold doing a good job of ball reversal. It hasn't stuck much. And just as I say that, Kern takes one dribble, and Pedraza is going to try and sort things out. They're running 4 out, 1 in, trying to post up Gerke, and this is going to be a foul. Is it from behind or up front? Let's see. It's going to go against Kendall Boer. That's her second scoop. So Ayersville's 6-footer is in some early foul trouble still with plenty of time left in the first, and Eldridge will check back in.
Well, let's see if the Streaks go right to Molly Gerke, the 5'11 junior, to maybe get a post game going for Archbold. Most of their offense has been transition.
Oh, that one's a bad throwaway, and Greavy trying to get the handle on it, and she rushed it. My goodness, down low, and Knieven can't find the range. Right now, Ayersville just can't buy a bucket.
Yeah, and those are those points you just can't really leave off the board, you know, especially against a team that plays such aggressive defense as Archbold.
Eldridge directing traffic. Almost looked like they were spreading the floor.
Archbold back in that 2-3 zone defense. They do a great job getting the passing lane as Molly Gerke comes up with the 6th Ayersville turnover.
Wow. We still have 2.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. That's going to be a double dribble. And neither team right now in rhythm right now. Is this offensive nerves or is this just really good defense by both squads?
Well, I think the physicality has played a part, but certainly nerves have played a little bit as well. I mean, that's 10 combined turnovers for both teams, and we're not even 5.5 minutes in.
Waldron goes up the far side. Greavy slows it down, gets it back to Waldron. She's double teamed. She'll dribble out of it. Eldridge, she had the baseline. Tries a quick pass to a weak side cutting Knieven, who draws the foul. And if that's Gerke, that's her second.
Well, credit to Allison Eldridge that time. The sophomore made a nice diagonal entry pass there to that backside, and the Streaks were forced to foul. So Ayersville will get 2 from the stripe here. First one up and in. So
Even a good free throw shooter, Scoop, at nearly 70%.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, for a freshman coming out, just over 69% coming in. Hits the first of 2 here tonight. Second one, great foul.
They made them both.
Backspin. Gets the Pilots within 1.
Back in that 2-3 zone. Pedraza. Boy, it just looks so inviting because there are gaps there, but they close it down so quickly. Kern, now the ball's moving a little bit faster as they run the baseline cutter, but nothing doing for Kern in the corner. And dropping down, Eldridge will tie up Grace Meyer, who's checked into the game, and it looks like she's guilty of the foul.
Well, right idea. I like the aggressive defense part. Got a part of the arm there, but again, that's what Archbold needs to do. They need to find a way to attack the middle of this 2-3 zone defense by the Pilots, and then look for those diagonal passes down to the low blocks.
Even with her first. Under 2 minutes left to go here in the quarter. Ayersville in this 2-3 zone, but they are not extending it. They are basically no more than 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the arc. As a nice left-handed drive by Kern, but short off the iron.
Yeah, they don't want to extend it because that's going to invite that one-on-one dribble penetration the Streaks do so well. So right now they're trying to just kind of get the tempo on their side. And for the most part, they've done that here in this opening quarter. But another turnover in a run-out.
And
but the Streaks give it right back.
What have we got, or do I even want to know right now? So there's going to be carrying the basketball. Another turnover on Kendra Waldron this time.
Well, that makes a baker's dozen. Ayersville has 8 turnovers. Archbold has 5. So 13 turnovers. We still have a buck and some change to go in this opening quarter.
Wow.
I think both coaches certainly going to address this a little bit at the quarter break.
Coming up on 1 minute left to go in the first quarter. Low-scoring game. Blue Streaks nursing a 1-point lead, and Ayersville more than content to stay in that 2-3 zone. And with only a couple of post touches, the Blue Streaks have really had trouble attacking it. And there's another turnover. Is that 6?
That's 6 for Archbold. And this Pilot zone defense doing just what it's intended to do, trying to get Archbold to go side to side rather than attack the post, and it's also slowing the game down, playing into the Pilots' hands.
Trapping at half court here, and Coach Tim Nicely wants a timeout. We will take a break with them. This is a Mark Motes Ford timeout. Serving the Defiance community since 1916, Mark Motes Ford, located on County Road 424 in Defiance, and online at markmotesford.com. We'll take a 60-second timeout. Back with more after this on DCTV Sports.
Visit Mark Motes Ford and check out some of the best new Ford models. Mark Motes Ford has been serving the Defiance community since 1916. Visit them today, County Road 424 in Defiance, and online at markmotesford.com.
This was not a full timeout, so we're only taking half of ours. 42 and 6/10 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Archbold 6, Ayersville 5, an incredibly low-scoring defensive and turnover-plagued ball game to open up the 2024 DPT Classic here in Defiance. And is Ayersville going to take some air out of the ball here? I don't want to say potentially work for the final shot of the quarter, but they're taking the time right now. High blocks, nice move, and that's just too tough. Gravy couldn't find the range. At the other end, a rare fast break opportunity, and the right-handed layup put in by McKenna Thiel.
Great job by the Streaks. Once again, they turn points in from their defense. The 9th Pilot turnover, a good-looking 2-on-1 fast break. Thiel finishes.
Trying to force it down low to Knieven, but it's deflected, and that will do it for the first 8 minutes. Low scoring affair. Archbold hanging on to a 3-point advantage. Blue Streaks 8, Pilots 5. Back with the second quarter right after this from the Dog Pound. A Mark Moats Ford timeout. You're watching DCTV Sports. Fresh 8 minutes put up on the scoreboard clock as we welcome you back to the Dog Pound, Defiance High School. Brent Balvanot, Scoop Miller, opening night, opening game of the 2024 DPT Classic. 1 3-point advantage right now for the Blue Streaks of Archbold over the Ayersville Pilots, 8-5, but the Pilots have the ball and another turnover. Galen Hastett tried to put it down low. Greavy got it back from behind, but misses the running one-hander. And it's just been kind of a helter-skelter ball game.
It really has been. No flow of the game just yet. Meyer takes off with a bomb there. The Pilots rebound, hold the streaks to 1 and done.
Here comes Kendra Waldron. She, I was about to say, isn't stopping for anything, but then she immediately pivots and gets rid of the ball. Pilots have tried to go inside on this 2-3 zone, but they just haven't been effective.
They haven't been patient enough against it. They're trying to force it too soon, and this is a bomb here from Waldron. Good rebound by Thiel on the backside. Archbold pushes up once again.
Kern slowing it down. It's trailing forward in the high blocks, who immediately kicks it out, and there's a little inside-outside action as this one goes to Kern, her second bomb of the evening.
That's a great-looking three by the freshman Kern. She got rid of that basketball so quickly, hardly had her fingerprints on it. Here's a good answer to the other end by Alexa Greavy as the Pilots were able to finish inside, something they really struggled with in that opening quarter.
It's just their second basket from the floor in this ballgame. They're hanging around, though, down 11-7.
And the Pilots had some looks in that first quarter, you know, close in the paint, just could not finish around the rim.
Well, with Waldron catching a breather on the bench, she's yet to sit. She's going to inbound, so she's not taking a seat on the bench. Although that wouldn't surprise me with her mindset. I'm going to stand. You want to give me a breather? I'll just stand at the end of the bench. Right now, the question is, who's going to step up? Again, that pass was a little late. Greavy kicks it back out. Eldridge, that ball was partially blocked, and it should remain Ayersville basketball. But there's the aggressiveness that Tim Nicely was saying he wants to see more from his point guard, Allison Eldridge.
Yeah, he wants to see that aggressiveness. That's something you can turn down if you need to, but it's hard to dial it up, and he's trying to dial it up. And there we saw a small glimpse of it. We'll see if it can have a carryover effect.
Lob pass in between the circles to Knieven. Waldron almost stripped. There's some aggressiveness by Eldridge. So we've got the freshman, Peyton Ensign, checking in. That's a great post-to-post pass. Boer to Knieven for two.
Great job by Boer. She squared up, did everything right. She felt the pressure, drops a dime there across the lane. The Pot's within two.
Three at the other end. That is airmailed, and Eldridge didn't need to go after it. It would have been Ayersville basketball. Instead, loose ball here, muscling up against a triple team, and that's going to be a double dribble from Garricky.
Yeah, that time Garricky accidentally got her other hand on that, and official right on top of it. Another streak turnover. They've been plagued as well. They have 8 turnovers here in just 10.5 minutes of action here tonight.
11-9. Ayersville trying to tie it up. They would take the lead with a three. Here comes Eldridge. Yet to cross the timeline. Now they do. Got to be careful. They are trapping. Bounce pass to Waldron. Bullet pass to Ensign. She went up just a little tentatively. There's the freshman again. Got to go hard. Every coach will tell you, Scoop, I'd rather you make an aggressive mistake than a passive one.
Yeah, that time just kind of got caught in between. You either go very aggressive or you at least give it a shot fake. That time she was caught in between. Here's a long shot going to rim out, and basketball belonged to Ayersville. So Ayersville now with a chance to tie or take the lead with a 3.
Just under 5 left to go here in the first half. Defiance and Tenora will be our nightcap. 15 minutes following this one. Waldron goes over the top. Ensign, you had numbers. She took 2 dribbles and stopped, and there's a turnover. But shows some of her feistiness. She picks it back up. I think she held off thinking that would be over and back. Getting after it. Knieven almost stripped from behind. Ball moving to the far side. Inside. There you go. Good aggressive drive, and she gets the layup.
Great take that time. Archbold trying to trap all over. They got the reversal. She went straight downhill. Tremendous finish off the window. And the Pilots come up with a steal at the other end.
Knieven from her knees. Outlets to Waldron. That's going to be a dangerous pass to Boer. And here comes Waldron.
You're going to have to ball fake against this streak defense. They're off the aggressive. They're trying to double wherever they can. You have to shift the defense with the ball fake. Make them play you honest.
Skip pass, Eldridge. High blocks Knieven. I'm not sure if that was deflected or if that was a pass. Boer with a drop step into the paint. She did everything but finish. Everything there, I'm guarantee you Tim Nicely would tell her to keep doing.
That's a pretty move right there. Had pretty good footwork, a nice little baby hook. And here Archbold turns it over one more time. And Coach Nicely's going to burn a full timeout here as we got French fries on the board at 11-11.
We'll take a Mark Moats Ford timeout. Some of the best new and used Ford models in the area, serving Defiance since 1916, located on County Road 424. We're knotted up at 11 all. We're back after this on DCTV Sports.
Discover top quality healthcare education at Northwest State. Our instructors have real-world experience, so they know how to prepare you for great career opportunities. Northwest State, where you'll get the top quality healthcare education you need to succeed.
.339 left to go in the first half. We are back at the Dog Pound. It has been a very defensive-oriented ball game as Archbold and Ayersville knotted up at 11 all with 3:39 left to go in the first half. Ayersville basketball. They will inbound on the near side. Eldridge will do the honors. Ayersville with a chance to take their first lead of this game. I believe you're keeping a running score there.
Ayersville scored the first basket, but that was short-lived as Kern went on a 5-0 run by herself. And here's a run out.
Reagan went with a steal. Misses. Johnny on the spot. Nice job to follow, and Garricky in the books for the first time tonight.
Well, credit that Archbold defense. Once again, they get 2 points off an Ayersville turnover. That's been the best streak offense tonight, has been their defense. And they retake the lead 13-11.
How many turnovers is that now for the Pilots?
That's 12 turnovers for Ayersville.
Boer, tremendous passing, and the bunny missed by Eldridge. Again, Scoop, I love this kid to death. Tentative. She didn't expect that extra pass. I thought Boer was going to take the shot as well, but when Eldridge found it, it's almost as if she didn't know what to do with it. Go be aggressive. That's what Tim Nicely is trying to tell number 10, and she's coming out of the game right now.
Well, you're right. The shot chart for Ayersville, there's nothing wrong with it. They're getting shots from ground zero down there in the paint, but they're not finishing. But they also should have maybe twice as many shots as they do. The fact that they've turned it over a dozen times here tonight.
Normally, you wouldn't say this as a positive, as one step in front, inside, I should say, the arc, and that's going to be a long deuce. correct?
Yes,
for Charlie Forward.
Nice job there by Charlie Ford. She was unguarded, stepped in, was able to step into that shot, shoot in rhythm. And now a 4-0 run by the Streaks.
Boer took a little bit of contact and steps out of bounds.
Ayersville's had the right idea. They know they've got a chance down there in the paint, but they're a little bit too impatient. I think if they reverse it once or twice, they're going to get better opportunities inside. Right now, the Streaks trying to get a little separation here as we approach the 2-minute mark of this opening half.
High blocks forward on the drive. Got a good look, but couldn't finish. And here come the Pilots trying to cut the deficit in half. They could pull to within one with a 3. Great ball movement. Knieven got hip checked, and I think that's going to be a foul against Garricky. And if it is, that's her 3rd.
Yeah, that time Garricky just a little tardy, sliding her feet over there. But again, a good aggressive take there by the Pilots. They got the ball in the middle. They attacked the rim. You know, when you play downhill, that puts a lot of stress on that opposing defense. And Garricky will sit out here the remaining 154 this opening half.
Kaylin Hastett and Harmony Gherkin checking in for Ayersville. As Knieven on the drive, that's going to be a kicked ball. So right now, I'm looking at, I believe, well, I'm not sure who's running the point right now. Waldron has done a lot with Eldridge and Greavy on the bench. I'm guessing Waldron will be the primary ball handler, and we'll have to wait for the next trip down the court. How many turnovers does that make now?
Well, that's 14, and that's one of those unforced turnovers right there, just a little miscommunication. But again, you don't have that type of margin of error against an Archbold team.
Beautiful stop and pop jumper.
Great job there by Pedroza that time. Able to kind of slice her way through the defense. A nice pull-up and another turnover forced by the Streaks. Pedroza will bring it up here.
Pilots 15th of the half. And that ball is loose. Does Archbold return the favor? There's a scrum in the middle of the paint. Still nobody with a clear command of it. And now we've got a jump ball being called, and it remains Blue Streaks possession.
Well, the Blue Streaks have not committed a turnover in nearly 3 minutes, and that's been the difference here as they've gone on this 6-0 run. The second time tonight that Archbold's gone on a 6-0 run. The first one was after they fell behind 2-0. But it's been a game of streaks for the Streaks, no pun intended.
Their largest lead of the game at 6 off the inbound, stopping and popping. Forward a little long off the heel of the iron, and a battle for the board. And I believe this is going to be a foul against Went. That'll be her first. Second team foul. And what that stoppage of play does, Scoop, is allow the Blue Streaks to get into their press.
It's not a bad foul, especially when you still have a couple more fouls to give after that one.
Oh, my.
And that press pays off once again as Forward comes up with the steal. Quickly gets it to Went. They set up their offense with Pedroza up top.
And a quick 3 at the other end, and this one goes down for Kern. That is her 3rd Premier Bank three-pointer of the ball game.
Now you have to find Claire Kern in transition defense, and again, she's got that quick release. If you notice when she caught that ball, Brent, she caught it in triple threat, never brought it down. She's got that quick release. Got a great stroke from deep. And wow, those three balls have been the difference. Allowed these Streaks to get some separation.
Oh, boy, and again, just moving too fast. Peyton Ensign didn't want the ball. She tried to get it right back, and that's going to be an over and back.
Well, that pressure from Archbold causes it to be a hot potato. You have to slow down. You have to ball fake. That's something the Pilots really have not done at all this entire half. The result has been 17 turnovers. And you can bank Archbold's got at least 14 points off those turnovers, more than the difference. And Archbold right now content to hold for the last shot.
Well, they brought the top half of the zone up, and they'll put their offense in motion. Maddie Bowers is on the court, and she turns it over. Waldron, again, waited just a second too long, and that ball is deflected. And here come the Blue Streaks, who don't want possession. They said, we'll give you an early Christmas gift. Right back at you.
Oh, 2 quick turnovers by the Streaks after they did such a good job of taking care of the ball.
Full court pressure. Ball inbounds to Knieven. Now they've got numbers. Now they can move up the court and laid up and in. They go over the top of the press this time, and Harmony Gherkin with a little bit of wind in Ayersville sails as they cut the deficit to 7 as the buzzer sounds, and we have come to the end of the first half of play. Ayersville trailing Archbold. The Blue Streaks entering at 5-0. The Pilots trying to snap a losing streak at 1-4. They've got some work to do as they trail by 7. We will take a Mark Moats Ford timeout. When we come back, it will be our Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show. Midwest Community Federal Credit Union celebrating 70 years of helping you achieve your dreams and securing your future. Visit them in Defiance, Bryan, or Napoleon, or online at midwestcommunity.org. 2013 Blue Streaks over the Pilots. Back with more right after this. You're watching DCTV Sports.
For the past 70 years, Midwest Community Federal Credit Union has been your financial partner, helping you achieve your dreams and secure your future. Midwest Community Federal Credit Union, with locations in Defiance, Bryan, and Napoleon. Find out more at midwestcommunity.org. For the past 70 years, For the past 70 years, Midwest Community Federal Credit Union has been your financial partner, helping you achieve your dreams and secure your future. Midwest Community Federal Credit Union, with locations in Defiance, Bryan, and Napoleon. Find out more at midwestcommunity.org. For the past 70 For the past 70 years, Midwest Community Federal Credit Union has been your financial partner, helping you achieve your dreams and secure your future. Midwest Community Federal Credit Union, with locations in Defiance, Bryan, and Napoleon. Find out more at midwestcommunity.org. For the past
Back at the Dog Pound, you're taking a look at two teams that will be taking the court immediately. Well, not quite immediately, probably about 15 to 20 minutes following the game we're watching now, as it will be host Defiance and visiting Tenora. Night number 1, game number 2 of the 2024 DPT Classic. Game 1 right now is at the intermission, and it sees the Blue Streaks of Archbold nursing a 7-point lead over Ayersville, 22-13 as we welcome you back to the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union Halftime Show, celebrating 70 years of helping you achieve your dreams and securing your future. Visit them in Defiance, Bryan, or Napoleon, or online at midwestcommunity.org. We stress these are unofficial, but we think we're pretty accurate. Let's start with scoring. And it has been the Claire Kern show, and everybody else has just been buying a ticket to watch. Claire Kern with 11 points on the evening, including 3 3-pointers. Nobody else has more than 3 as far as the Blue Streaks are concerned. That 3 coming from McKenna Field. She's got a basket from the field and is 1 of 2 from the charity stripe. After that, a basket each for point guard Alana Pedraza, Charlie Forward, and Miley Garricky. The surprise there, Scoop, isn't so much that Claire Kern leads the scoring with 11 points. It's that the 2 leading scorers for Archbold at 13 and 14.5 points respectively, Charlie Forward and Miley Garricky, only have 2 points each, and yet the Blue Streaks are up by 7.
Well, that's incredible. You know, you got 2 girls coming in, averaging nearly 30 points a game combined. They were held to 4 points, but yet Archbold with a comfortable 7-point advantage at 20-13. Their defense has been tenacious. As you mentioned, Claire Kern had a fantastic first half, but honestly, that's not a surprise to anybody. She's so athletic. When you give her space, she can catch and shoot in rhythm. She's awfully lethal, but she also has the ability to play downhill. We've seen that from her defense. She's had a few steals, some run-out opportunities as the Streaks have really cashed in from their defense. I had them unofficially for 14 points from their defense out of the 20 points that are in the opening half of the Streaks.
On the flip side, for the Pilots, again, just 13 points, so you're not expecting a lot in the scoring column. Right now, it is balance. Avery Knieven with 4. That includes a couple of free throws and a basket from the field. Nobody else with more than 2. But you have 4 players with 2. Alexa Greavy, Kendra Waldron, who is averaging just over 9 a game. Harmony Gherkin and Peyton Ensign, both off the bench with a basket. And Kendall Boer, the 6-foot center, 1 of 2 from the charity stripe. All right, break it down for us. If you are Tim Nicely and the Pilots, you're down 7. You have turned the ball over way more than you would care to, and yet you're still in this ball game. What's your message to your team in the locker room?
Well, you have to at least have some hope there. The fact that you've got more turnovers than points. You turn it over 18 times. You've only got 13 points, but yet it's just a 3-possession game. So they kept the game where it needs to be. They don't want to track meet. Archbold wants this game to get in the 50s. Ayersville would love to see it in the 20s or 30s if they want to have an opportunity. So disastrous half as far as holding the basketball. The message from Coach Tim Nicely is, we have to play strong with the ball. We know the pressure is going to be there, but let that work to our advantage. If we ball fake, if we play strong, we can shift that defense with ball fakes. We reverse it. We've seen we can score when we get it inside. So if they can show a little bit more patience, start incorporating the ball fake, they've got a chance to attack that zone defense that we saw from the Streaks the entire opening 16 minutes.
Pilots out. They have been out for about 2 minutes now, getting their halftime shoot-around in. The Blue Streaks just took the court. They will get about a minute and a half. But again, Coach Ziegler using the locker room a little bit longer, his squad leading by 7. We'll take a 60-second break, a 60-second timeout. That's going to do it for our Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show. Third quarter when we return on DCTV Sports. We wrap the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show. Final 29 seconds before we get set for second half action. Night number one, game number one of the 2024 DPT Classic, and it sees unbeaten Archbold 5-0 entering tonight's contest, leading 1-4 Ayersville 20-13. Looks like both sets of starters that began the game will begin the second half as well. For Archbold, Pedraza, Kern, Thiel, forward, and Garricky. Garricky with some foul trouble. She's got 3. For the Pilots, Eldridge. Looks like, is Greavy on the floor? Yes, she is in the far corner. Waldron, Knieven, and Boer. And it looks like Archbold content to still come out. It almost, I don't want to say 3-2, but with the way they're sagging the middle, what do you call that?
It's a 1-3-1. 1-3 run. A good take that time on the backside. As Ayersville's able to attack that defense, and they get a quick deuce here to start things out.
It has a little bit of a look of a triangle in 2. Again, I'm waiting for the ball to go below the free throw line to see the rotations. As going into the low post, they'll kick it right back out, and picking up where she left off in the first half, Claire Kern with her 4th three-pointer of the night.
Well, that's a dagger because you know Ayersville talked about that very thing at halftime. You've got to get out, high hands, force her to put it on the deck. But 4 trifectas now for Kern.
That's just a bad pass, cross-court, 3/4. Eldridge hits the deck. She's trying to get back up. She's been banged around tonight. Gets back in time to get a hand in the face of Pedraza. They'll reverse it far side, halfway down. The 5th of the night spits out, and Kern thought she had it. Good hustle, though, by Garricky. A lot of congestion in the near corner here.
That's a great play by Archbold. They made that extra pass to make sure they go right back to Kern, who's had that hot hand. So that's just intelligent basketball, high IQ there by the Streaks.
Ball deflected, picked up by Thiel. Archbold taking a page out of Ayersville's book here and being patient on this offensive possession. The reverse at far side, now on the dribble forward. Just 2 points tonight. She averages 13 a game. The hot hand gives it up. Thiel. Boy, they're really packing the bottom half of this 2-3 zone down. That's a great stop and pop jumper. Pedraza misses everything, but again, hustle on the weak side by Thiel. Keep hearing the Archbold coaching staff yelling, run it. If you're going to play against a 2-3 zone, really a zone of any type, Scoop, but especially with a zone that seems to be packing it down below the free throw line, the ball can't stick. And Archbold, they did a good job in the second quarter of really picking up their perimeter passing. As this inbounds, Garricky wasn't prepared for it. It hits the deck, and right now it still looks like both teams kind of ironing out a few wrinkles.
Well, with Kern hitting those 3 balls for Archbold, that's forcing Ayersville to come a little further out. And what they're trying to do is isolate Garricky inside. She did a nice job of bearing her girl down on the low post, but they weren't able to cash in. Let's see if they go back to her here.
Nice dribble penetration, muscling up, and McKenna Thiel, strong move.
That's a perfect spot in the floor for McKenna Thiel. She gets it in the middle, squares up again, and she's got that quick first step. That's how she got things going there in that opening half with that same move at the other end.
(25-15), lead is 10, almost another turnover as Greavy hits the deck. And what do we have called here?
We had a foul there on that loose ball by the Streaks, but credit to Alana Pedroza once again. She anticipated that next pass, knew the Pilots were in trouble. She jumped a man up there, made a nice rotation, nearly had the run out. The foul call bails out the Pilots. They'll bring it up here against man-to-man pressure, trailing by 10 here for the first time tonight.
Eldridge tries to come off a screen of Hastet. Again, working east-west. She's picked up her dribble. Waldron will come help her out. Waldron wanted to cross over. Ooh. Hits her knees. Right back to her, and an 18-footer gets swatted right back in her face. Great closeout by forward.
Excellent job. Good high hands. She tracks it down. Now Archbold attacking this zone defense.
forward.
Little
Just
1-2-2
that. I was going to
action.
say, they're bringing up Waldron at the top of it. They go to the low blocks. Nice drop step to the paint, and Garricky will head to the charity stripe.
Well, you can see why Garricky is scoring over 14 points a game. That time she won the basketball down there to the low post. Once she got it, she felt where the contact was. She took advantage, made a nice spin move, and now she finds herself at the charity stripe trying to give Archbold their biggest lead of the night. First one, string music up and in.
Passed at the guilty party for Ayersville. Waiting on the second one here. Garricky, an 83% free throw shooter. And she's perfect here. Give her 4 on the night. And it's a 12-point Blue Streaks lead, and they're continuing to come out in this press. Trying to go over the top of it, and Hastet took a shot to the noggin.
Those are the fouls you'll live with the coach. That time, Kern rotating up on that press. Just didn't have the pursuit angle she needed. But that's something she'll make the adjustment onto and be in better shape next time. But she gets whistled for the foul. Ayersville right now really having a hard time against this man-to-man pressure by the Streaks.
And another turnover on the drive, and that one partially blocked. Kern thought she was fouled, but no change in call forthcoming. And Ayersville will take possession back. Blue Streaks have outscored the Pilots to start the second half here 7-2. And they lead by 12. And scoop again, Ayersville not built to win a track meet. They can't afford the lead to balloon much more than what it already is. Look out, another 3. Feeling it! Claire Kern with her 5th from distance tonight. Another Premier Bank three-pointer.
Wow, she is really feeling it. A well-executed out-of-bounds play that time. Really America's play. Everyone has that in their arsenal, but not everyone has a Claire Kern that's going to catch and shoot in rhythm so quickly. Wow, what a monster night she's had.
Yep. That ball deflected out of bounds. Blue Streaks have doubled up the Pilots with 3:41 left to go here in the third quarter. Unchecked, and yeah, absolutely take that shot. Avery Knieven with 6 on the evening. It's just the second basket of the second half for the
That
Pilots.
time, Knieven all of a sudden found herself all alone, so she looked at the rim, squared up, was able to bury that mid-range jumper. Much needed hoop there from the Pilots.
Up top, Thiel trying to get on the act from beyond the arc. Nothing doing. Boer with the outlet to Waldron. She wisely slows it down. Eldridge kind of came to a jump stop. That ball went off her fingertips. She tracks it down. Greavy surrenders it. Boer, all 6 foot of her, has popped out beyond the arc, and that's just not a good pass. Stolen away coast to coast, and that is gravy for McKenna Thiel.
A great job again by Thiel, and Archbold gets 2 more points from their defense as now they've got some serious separation here as we hit the 2.5-minute mark of this third quarter.
Down by 15. Waldron on the drive, leans in, blocking foul.
That's a good aggressive take to the rack, which would we love to see as Waldron run right after Charlie Ford of the Streaks forward that time. Instead of holding the ground, got her hands up, leaned in, gets whistled for the contact. Archbold's going to burn a full timeout.
Timeout, we'll take one with them, a Mark Moats Ford timeout, serving up the best new and used Ford models in the area and serving the community since 1916. Check them out on County Road 424 or online at markmoatsford.com. 2:25 left to go third quarter. Archbold in control. Back after this on DCTV Sports.
Proudly serving the area with the highest quality contracting services for nearly 100 years. Baker Schindler Company of Defiance and Paulding. 419-782-5080. Online at baker-schindler.com. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac is this area's new and used car headquarters, earning your trust one satisfied customer at a time. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac, North Clinton Street in Defiance, and online at drivebobestill.com.
Back at the Dog Pound. There you get a good shot of the Archbold bench. And look at the managers working hard this evening. A couple of Scoop students over at Archbold. Care to go ahead and give these ladies some credit, Scoop?
Well, I'd love to see these girls get after it, not just during the school day, but also here in the evening. They were out for the JV game earlier with the Streaks won convincingly over Ayersville. Try to give them a little love over the airways.
Kendra Waldron drains her first free throw. That's just her third point of the evening. Waldron struggling at the line this season, but she's 100% here. 32-19, lead trimmed to 13. High blocks, good-looking shot by Went, but it won't fall.
That's
Greavy
a
with
great
the board.
look there for Went. Did everything right, was able to catch and shoot in rhythm there. Nice little square-up jumper from the elbow, just caught the heel of the iron.
Boer double teamed. Nice wraparound pass. Great move without the basketball by Knieven, and she'll head to the charity stripe.
Nice to see Ayersville starting to attack the rim a little bit more instead of just playing catch around the perimeter, starting to attack the interior. And now they'll head to the charity stripe to shoot a pair.
First one is up and good. Knieven, again, as we mentioned, a good free throw shooter at nearly 70%. Coach Tim Nicely would like her to get there a little bit more for his liking. And she has just enough English to clear the front of the iron. And it's become a bit more interesting now. The lead trimmed to 11. Nice move, but a little too far underneath the basket. Thiel kicks it out. Forward, drives, but kicks it out. They're continuing to probe this defense. Kern on the drive, gets a facial from Boer.
Great block by Boer. Went straight up. A lot of kids will come down there, swat at it. She was on top of the basketball. Big time stop there by the Pilots. Trying to make a run. They have a chance to get the lead down to single digits here if they can execute here against this Archbold zone defense.
It's a 4-0 run right now by Ayersville. One more basket makes this an interesting game as we approach 1 minute left to go in the third quarter. And this sticky man-to-man defense right now by the Blue Streaks. And again, you just can't be loose with the basketball. Another turnover. How many is that now?
Too many turnovers. That's number 22 here for the Pilots tonight. And again, well more than half Archbold's offense has been from their defense here. As the Pilot defense has really done a nice job in the half court, but the offensive turnovers created way too much offense for the Streaks here tonight.
Went on the drive, kicks it out to the near corner. Forward will launch from beyond the arc. Battle for the basketball, picked up by Knieven. Here comes Waldron. They've got numbers, but the ball isn't centered. Kendra says, I don't care, I'm going all the way in, and finishes with the finger roll.
That's a big-time take by Kendra Waldron. One of the few times they had a transition opportunity. I love how she attacked the rim, went downhill.
Speaking
now
of
she
attacking.
comes up with the rebound, and look where she's trying to go. Pretty good to now defense by Kern.
Great secondary break. Boer faded away. I thought she was going to make a more aggressive move towards the basket, and at the other end, a left-handed layup missed, and that I don't believe is going to count. So a little helter-skelter in the final seconds of the third quarter. Ayersville making it interesting, but Archbold in command. 32-23. We'll take a Mark Moats Ford timeout. When we come back, the fourth and final quarter. You're watching DCTV Sports.
Simplify your everyday banking with convenient account options and digital banking features that fit your unique lifestyle. Premier Bank, everyday banking solutions designed for you. Explore solutions today at yourpremierbank.com. For the past 70 years, Midwest Community Federal Credit Union has been your financial partner, helping you achieve your dreams and secure your future. Midwest Community Federal Credit Union, with locations in Defiance, Bryan, and Napoleon. Find out more at midwestcommunity.org. Visit Mark Moats Ford and check out some of the best new Ford models. Mark Moats Ford has been serving the Defiance community since 1916. Visit them today, County Road 424 in Defiance, and online at markmoatsford.com.
Final 8 minutes put up on the scoreboard clock. There you get a good look at the Archbold bench. They have been in command for most of this ball game, but a 6-0 run by Ayersville to end the third quarter has got the deficit to single digits. Helter-skelter underneath the basket. Who wants it right now as Boer putting both hands on it, tying up, I believe that was Garricky. And the jump ball called. The arrow points the Blue Streaks' way.
That's a veteran coaching staff we saw on that Archbold sideline.
Open for three, and another one, this time off the fingertips of Grace Meyer, who's checked into the ball game.
Great job by the senior Grace Meyer. She coming in really is their top three-point threat, but certainly Claire Kern has something to say about that tonight.
Eldridge takes a shot. It goes begging off the right side, and the ball rolls out of bounds. And I'm looking at Eldridge as she looks over at Tim Nicely, almost as if to say, do you approve of that shot? He didn't say anything, but again, that's the aggressiveness he wants out of his point guard.
No question about it, and that's how you have to be. You want to be the aggressor out there for 32 minutes, and that's something that's starting to come around here for the Pilots.
Down low, a miss, and a great job to crash on the weak side by Maddie Bowers. Back-to-back baskets, both from bench players, marking the first points of any kind, make it 5 for the Blue Streaks, and they have opened up their lead again.
Great hustle play by Maddie Bowers there, coming in on that backside, getting that offensive putback. And after a 6-0 Pilot run to close out quarter 3, the Streaks start out the 5-0 run here, quarter 4, in the opening 90 seconds.
Eldridge working against Addison Kinsman, who's checked into the ball game. Greavy kicks it out. Knieven. Waldron tries to put it on the floor, but she's stripped. She gets it back, but now she picks up the basketball. And the Pilots need to reset their offense here. Knieven will put up a 3. This is off the mark. Wanting to run, that's just great guard post work, and a point-blank layup missed by Garricky. Staying with it.
Great job by the Streaks, pushing out, kind of spearheaded by Addison Kinsman that time. She made that go-ahead pass to Garricky, even though she doesn't get the assist because Garricky missed. Garricky with a strong offensive rebound and putback. Archbold starting to pull away here.
Passes just don't have quite enough on them, and again, you can't telegraph them against this sticky Archbold defense.
Well, the good thing for Ayersville, it's a matter of some fundamentals. They've got to start, getting that triple threat. They've got to start ball faking. They've got to get that defense to shift out of position. To me, that's an easy correction.
Ball deflected out of bounds. 39-23, just like that, back up to a 16-point lead. It was only single digits coming into the start of this quarter, and in less than 3 minutes, Archbold has made a significant move. Skip pass. Ooh, good baseline cut by Kinsman. They missed her. On the floor, Bowers drives until she meets resistance. Weak side again. Man, they always seem to be in position. So many Archbold players move without the basketball.
They really do a great job of that. And again, it comes with that high basketball IQ. They understand most rebounds are going on the backside. So instead of staying back there, you saw Grace Meyer come in. And she's able to kind of steal that rebound away from the Pilots. Although she comes up empty on the first of 2, Meyer will now try to hit the back end. She scores just over 3 points a game, 33% from beyond the arc. Tanner struggles at the foul line this year, but Archbold will get a team rebound here.
And that bounced off the face of Knieven. She appears to be okay. Kinsman will inbound on the baseline. Ayersville will not put anybody on the inbounder. That's just catch and shoot. A little long for Garricky.
But Archbold really starting to dominate the offensive glass here as the Streaks are getting numerous second and third opportunities here.
Well, we thought about the give and go. Instead, Garricky wants to take it, and she'll try and earn it from the free throw line. If that's Boer, that's her third.
Yeah, nice job again by Garricky. A little breakdown by that Pilot defense. You know, anytime Garricky has it, they're back to the basket. You want to try to overplay her left shoulder. She has a tendency to turn that way and go with her right. And now she'll get a pair from the charity stripe. First one comes off the front of the iron.
Normally an excellent free throw shooter at 83%. You see her there, deep breath, trying to refocus. Second is on the way and makes the adjustment. She's got 7 on the evening. And wholesale substitutions here for Archbold. They've got a deep bench. And Coach Ziegler's using it tonight. 40-23. It was 9 at the end of the third. We're not quite halfway through the fourth. And it's just been too much Archbold. Matter of fact, it's a 7-0 run. Make it 8-0, excuse me. Down low, rush shot. Trying to stay with it, trying to get a number, and I believe that's Knieven on the garbage putback.
Good job by Knieven, get position, using the backboard. That is an 8-0 Archbold run here as the Streaks opened up the fourth quarter.
And
a 3.5 minutes,
turnover.
not allowing a point.
They're going to call jump ball rather than the turnover. Again, this is the difference, and I know you said young, but I would go with more experienced, despite having some younger monikers next to some of those blue streak names on the roster. Scoop, they just have been more aggressive tonight.
Yeah, that's a big part of their DNA. They just really come after you. They do not give up any of the court for free. They usually put pressure on you by attacking the rim, playing downhill. And this is what they do so well is transition. But this time, Charlie Forward loses the handle as she was trying to get the ball up on a sideline break. Well, there you see that Archbold coaching staff. Billy Hugg coached maybe 40-plus years around Northwest Ohio. Sharp's been at Archbold coaching over 55 years. Here's another turnover and a run out. Pedroza with a nice pass to Meyer, and she will be fouled. And once again, Grace Meyer heading back to the charity stripe. Again, the Streaks with this transition, getting to the foul line. That's really been a big difference here, getting points from their defense, getting to the foul line. They've been very consistent with their pressure here tonight.
Meyer long on her first attempt. She's 0 for 3 this evening. Greavy will check in for Ayersville as Hastett will take a seat on the bench. Second of 2 on the way. Make her 1 for 4 on the night for 4 points, 41-25. Eldridge will check in for Waldron for Ayersville. Eldridge across the timeline. Try and go down low to Knieven. Scoop, you have to make a pass with a purpose. And especially with as sticky as this Archbold defense is, you can't make a half pass. It's got to come with some zip on it. And likewise, you've got to come meet the basketball. I'm guessing 2 things that Coach Nicely is going to work on this week in the Pilots practice.
You have to meet passes. Archbold anticipates where that pass is going so well. And again, that's why we've mentioned ball faking, numerous times here tonight, because when you have an aggressive team like Archbold, they're looking to get in those passing lanes, looking to get out in transition. You need the ball fake, get them out of position, and then you make those entry passes inside where you have a good chance to have a numerical advantage after the Streaks are really going out after that first pass.
Foul charge to Thiel, her second, out of bounds. I would also say this, though. If you're posting up, I don't even care where you're at. If you're on the perimeter or in the post, you need to expect a hot pass. You cannot, especially as you talked about, if you're not going to meet a pass, you're not going to get a soft pass through this Archbold defense.
Well, you're right, and that's where that being aggressive that you've talked about, Brent, is so important. You have to keep working and jockeying for position inside. You want to try to seal and bury your girl down there in the post. And this time, a little high-low action goes off the hands of the Pilots.
It's the right idea, but the pass was just a little high for Knieven. 16-point Blue Streak advantage. Now under 3 minutes left to go in the ball game. Plenty of subs on the floor right now for Archbold. Went. They'll reverse it. Far side. Meyer. Oh, wow. Great skip pass. Good aggressive move, but Went is cut off. And Kendra Waldron anticipates. She'll go coast to coast and finishes with the right hand.
Tremendous defensive play by Kendra Waldron. She read that like a book, was able to anticipate that next pass. Gets the steal and a run out. Streak still up 14. Went with an open jumper.
Nothing doing as Knieven cleans the glass, and it's going to be a reach and foul from behind on Meyer. And another sub. Who's checking in? Actually, it looks like we got a couple. Kinsman back in for Archbold, and who else is checking in here? That's number 23, Macy Marks, getting some action tonight. Just under 2.5 left to go. Well, a pass down low, Boer. They'll kick it back out. Ball movement a little bit better this trip down the court for Ayersville. Waldron on the floor, and she's now into double digits.
Yeah, great recognitions that time by Waldron. She realized she had a one-on-one. She was able to go straight to the rack. Great finish inside.
It's going to be too little too late, unfortunately, for Tim Nicely and company. Coach Brian Ziegler and company just dominant from almost beginning to end. Ayersville did have a short lead after scoring the first basket of this game, but other than that, Blue Streaks have just kept it into overdrive.
Yeah, it's been impressive. You know, their defense has really been stellar here tonight. They've out-rebounded the Pilots. They've done a nice job of winning that turnover battle, winning that turnover chain, so to speak. They've gotten to the foul line. They've got good production from their bench. They got that big first half from Claire Kern.
Yeah, Kern had 11 at the half. She will finish with 17. But she really set the tone early.
Boy, she did. You know, that Ayersville defense, I thought, did some really good things here tonight. And again, we talked about it. It was the offense for Ayersville with those turnovers that really gave up points to the Streaks. Here's Pedrosa here, misses a lay-in.
I think that was partially blocked by Waldron.
Greavy comes up the rebound. Ayersville now looks to be the aggressor here on the attack.
Wow, this is Allison Eldridge showing some good movement off the dribble penetration. It was an air ball, and that would have been a Harlem Globetrotters trick shot had she been able to make that far underneath the basket. Bowers picks up her first. Team foul number 3, Eldridge at the charity stripe.
Yeah, that time Eldridge really got bailed out because you mentioned, I'm not sure how that shot has a chance going in. But the first of 2 is going to rim out, so the Pilots are stuck on 29.
That is her first miss of the season.
No, you're right. She was a perfect 6 for 6 coming into tonight's action.
We'll see if she can hit 1 of 2 here. She cannot.
Good rebound by the freshman Macy Martz, and the Streaks bring it up with Kinsman in control.
And she wants to run. Knieven rotates over, a little bit of contact, and it doesn't matter. Kinsman takes and makes.
Nifty move that time by Kinsman. A little hesitation move up top. She got to the rack, and a little teardrop there gets it to go.
Waldron surrenders. Hast it. And that's going to be Harmony Gherkin launching a three. It's airmailed, and we got a whistle underneath. Well, Ayersville has been known for their defense, basically since Tim Nicely took over, but especially the last, 3 or 4 years. They've been able to do so with just enough offense. But this season, again, 29 points right now. And it's going to be a challenge, I think would be a good way to put it. As at the line, first free throw is up and good by Bowers. Taking a look at the Pilots so far this season, Scoop, they have only broken the 30-point mark once. And that was a 42-36 win against Eden.
Yeah, you can see that, offense is going to be a struggle for the Pilots, so they're going to need to keep things in the 30s. They're going to have to keep things in the 30s to have a formal shot of getting the W's consistently. But their defense can do that. Their defense can keep them in games. I think there's no question about that. This is going to feel good for Archbold after losing 2 consecutive games to the Pilots in the DPT championship round. They're going to get this semifinal win and advance to tomorrow's championship here as they take out Ayersville here 44-29. An impressive win for the Streaks.
6-0 on the young season, and the Blue Streaks will play in the title game tomorrow night. The Pilots fall to 1-5. Both teams will await their respective opponents tomorrow night, as it will be the second half of tonight's Twin Bill, about to get underway as Defiance will host Tenora. We had a chance to talk with head coach Leroy Lewis for the Bulldogs, and our player profile is Jamie Rollins, the junior point guard. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll reset as the Bob Estel Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show for game number 2 is about to turn the corner when we come back on DCTV Sports.